Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are, near or far. Welcome back to the Coach Do podcast, where we bring you insights and stories from the game's brightest players. And today we are joined by a very special guest. He is born and raised in Birmingham. Myles has taken his talents across the globe, playing professionally in Germany, France, Japan, and now Lithuania. He is a Great Britain national team veteran, a Commonwealth Games gold medalist, and a hero who sank the game-winning three-shot in Birmingham's historic 3x3 final. In this episode, we're going to dive deep into his incredible career, the challenges of adapting to new leagues, his training secrets, and the future of UK basketball. Plus, we'll be hearing about the honor of having his own court named after him in his hometown. So please, listeners, give a warm welcome, the man himself, the vet that is Myles Hesson. Honestly, appreciate you being on the podcast, sir.
Thank you, man. I appreciate the intro.
Absolutely, man.
Man, I appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. This is like a big deal for me, man, and just kind of what you mean to GB basketball. And just before we even speak about your career so far, like talk to us, how was your physical and how was your mental?
I'm good, man. I'm doing all right now. I'm in good health, both mentally and physically. So can't complain. Start of a new year. So I like
Absolutely.
um,
Absolutely. I just kind of started with your early career and just the growth because one thing I'm starting to learn doing this podcast and just speaking to coaches and players, I'm starting to hear more about obviously there is a huge basketball culture in London. You're hearing pockets of like Manchester, Birmingham, and other pockets. So for yourself, what first drew you to basketball growing up in Birmingham, and how did it, you know, give you an early experience that shaped you and gave you a passion for the game?
I was always just into sports, man. I did every sport growing up that you could think of.
Nice.
Yeah. Football was like my main passion from an early age. So I played that from as early as I can remember up until probably around the age of 13, 14. I grew up with three older brothers. So it was always competitive in the house. Whatever we did, we had the basketball hoop in the back garden. So I used to play with my brothers in the back garden and
Love.
used to do everything. And then basketball, didn't really get serious with basketball until so I moved to like a high school in year 8. I was at in year 7. It was a football school, and I was doing well with football. But then I kind of started to develop asthma. I didn't have it before that. Of growing up until that age, I didn't know what it was. I was just these attacks during games and stuff. I didn't know what was going on. And but yeah, like a long story short, I moved schools due to whatever reason. I was moving school, and a few of the friends that I made there was just playing basketball in at lunch breaks and stuff like that. So I kind of just got involved into basketball that way. At the same time, I was getting these asthma attacks during football, and then yeah, kind of just fell out of love with the game because I was having these asthma attacks and I've subbed out the game. And you know, football rules, like if you get subbed, you're done for the whole thing.
Right.
Yeah, basketball at the time, it kind of just lent itself to me and the rules. Like if I was feeling that I'd get in these asthma attacks, which I still was, I was able to just take a sub. I got an inhaler and stuff like that, so I'd use my inhaler, and yeah, I'd be able to get back in the game once I'd calm that down.
Just like I didn't even know them, man. That's crazy, and it's funny how like making that transition to basketball. So would you say it was an easier transition because it wasn't happening as much, or it was just kind of like you was able to kind of take breaks with like timeouts and first course, second course. It was kind of easier on your system.
Yeah, it was the breaks. It was the fact that I was able to take a sub. So like when I'd feel the asthma attack come in, I'd be able to sub out of the game,
Got you.
calm myself down, sort myself out, and then I'd be able to go back in and continue playing.
Okay.
Yeah, so like I was doing that a bit more often with my friends in the playground, and then I kind of got introduced by City of Birmingham Basketball Club.
Nice.
It wasn't the same name back then, but it's the same organization, same
Right.
owner, as to say, Rob Palmer. He came into school and did like a basketball taster session, and invited a few of us along, and then that's basically where it started from like year 8.
Okay. I kind of just talk to us because this is something that even for me, I'm curious because obviously growing up in London, there's when I started, back in '08, like basketball was kind of everywhere, but it's definitely gotten better now. But there was still like a little mini scene, and even just going to watch like the Luke Nelsons and other players play, I was able to kind of project myself and kind of attach myself to role models. So for yourself, like the time you was growing up in Miles, what was the basketball culture like in Birmingham back then?
Uh, it's hard to say, because I kind of wasn't involved in it at an early age, but there was times probably when I was really young and the Bullets were around, and
Yes.
I probably went to a game or two, like not knowing anything about it. But at that age, when I was about 13, 14, the Birmingham A's, they were playing in, I think, Division 1 at the time,
Okay.
and they used to have men's games that were pretty decent level. Um, as far as the culture goes, it's hard to say because I don't really feel as though there was like a big school scene that was going on. There was probably one basketball school that was on the other side of Birmingham that I didn't really get introduced to until I was in like probably year 9, like maybe a year or two after I'd just started playing. Yeah, so it wasn't really that big. There was a lot
Okay.
people played it and a lot of people enjoyed to play it, but it wasn't as big as it is now with all the
Okay.
emails and all that type of stuff going on.
See, so, and even then, like that kind of brings me to just with regards to your player pathway, like especially getting into basketball at a time where again the scene wasn't that big, like even just for UK in general, like a lot of players like yourself kind of opened the door and kind of shed light on, okay, there is a player pathway. If I follow this person's model, that person's model, I can actually become a pro or get a scholarship or even just have the dream of playing overseas. So, like for yourself, Miles, what did it mean to you to represent Great Britain at the under 20s European Championships and then later earn your first cap for the senior national team in 2012?
Yeah, I mean, it all just kind of, it felt like it happened quickly, but it didn't happen that quick. You know what I mean? It was like
Yeah.
I started playing at under 16s, under 15s, I think was my first like national league experience. And even then I wasn't one of the best players or anything like that. It wasn't like I just started playing basketball and was great. I wasn't that good. I was chubby. I was going through puberty and stuff like I would, or I just loved playing the game, you know what I mean? And yeah, so I never really had thoughts of being a professional at basketball. I just like playing it. And kind of like around the start of the internet type of era as well, like YouTube,
Yeah.
we had just kind of started. So you'd start seeing like videos of like I think it was Hoop Mixtape maybe, but the original Hoop Mixtapes like Jared Bayless and like whoa, who are these guys like Icky between the legs and stuff. I could barely touch the rim. It was like around them early stages where I just started. That's where the love came. It was like I was reading this Slam magazine, and it was like, wow, this looks cool. I wasn't thinking about being pro. I was thinking about going to the States. I want college or something like that, you know. And yeah, so I'd heard a few GB guys that were over there at the time, like Matthew Bryan, Argo, Justin Robinson,
Yes.
talking about like role models and stuff at the time. It was those guys and a bit closer to home, Martin Gale as well. He was really good.
Yes.
So I used to look up to those guys and just kind of want to emulate their footsteps.
Right.
Yeah, I got the chance to trial for the under 20s national team, and I only went because it was in Birmingham. Well, like this is all skipping the whole under 15 to under 18 phase of my career. I got better after like my second year under 18s. That's when I really felt like I was getting better at basketball. And
Okay.
met a coach called Stephen Hansel that played for the national team. He's from Birmingham. I didn't know him until really late in my career that there was even a professional guy that was Euro. He won the Euro League and
Wow.
the Seas and all this type of stuff. And he's from where I'm from. You know what I'm saying? So I met him, and yeah, like my development took another jump when I started working out with him and practicing with him. And yeah, like I said, the national team under 20s, they had a trial in Birmingham, my home court. So I was like, all right, cool. Let me go, let me turn up, let me see what it's about. And it was different. Like, it was packed. I didn't run these type of trials anymore, which is a shame.
Yeah.
That's the only way I got in. If people were getting in off merit and like who they play for and stuff like that, I probably wouldn't have had a look because nobody knew me at the time.
Okay.
I was playing well at under 18s and stuff like that, but not well enough to be like on the map. Like, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, we had the trials at Nichos, and like I played really well, played really good defense. And Tim Lewis, he came up to me during the trials and said, like, basically, who are you? You know, and I was. I told him who my coach was, and he's like, okay, cool. And then he eventually gave me a chance to make the final 20. I think it was like 24.
Yeah.
24, man. It was when GB had money, so like we had way longer camps with more players, and then we kind of whittled it down. Nowadays, it's really small and short that you can only take the players that you want. So
So
to prove yourself that much anymore.
right, right, and it's like, I mean, I've been fortunate enough just to speak with players in the past who just kind of expressed to me that it's such a honor to wear that jersey that represents your nation and your country, and just the people who look up to you, but the responsibility as well. But kind of just before we even speak about that and your professional career, like when was that moment for you, Miles, where things started to click, the game started to slow down, you made that game winning shot or that block, or like the game just started to make sense for you? Like, when was that moment for you, Miles, where you realized that you were nice at basketball?
Mhm. It was probably that year that I started playing with the Birmingham A's with Stephen Hansel.
Okay.
I was taking like another year at sixth form, so it was like my third year at college.
Okay.
And obviously I was too old to play under 18s, and so I started playing with the men's team, and then there wasn't if you know anything about basketball in Birmingham, there was a lot of politics and random things happened during the seasons for a lot of different teams. So there was literally only 6 players at practice most of the time, and then players would just turn up for games, which was cool with me because I was at every practice, and it was basically like individual work that I was getting with Stephen Hansel. So that's where that's when I felt like, okay, I'm developing, and now I can look into trying to take this to the next level, which still for me was college. I still wanted to go college. But at the time, from coming from Birmingham, there was nobody could kind of like guide me in that sense to get there. So I ended up going and playing professionally with Essex Pirates with Hatton Lewis on the 20s coach. And yeah, so that was probably around the time when I thought, yeah, cool, I can do this.
Right. And just with regards to your professional career, I mean, your career has taken you across Europe, Asia, playing in countries like, Germany, France, and Japan. How do you adapt to different playing styles and cultures in these leagues?
I mean, you have to. It's all about the mentality that Coach Steve, he taught me when we were working out. It would be me against him, and he, like, you know what I mean. And he was just early retirement, so he could still play. So he was killing me every. He'd take no breaks, and it would just be. It was hard sometimes. Sometimes I didn't even want to turn up, but that's where I developed that mentality that I've got now, and then I'll have for the rest of my life as well. So adapting is just a part of what you have to do, and it's a part of what I was taught. Go to a league, I have to take over, I have to dominate, because there's too many players coming out of college, coming out of different European academies each year.
Sure.
Go somewhere and not produce, because I'd have to go back home. I've always carried that around with me. The fact that no matter where I'm at, whatever the type of basketball it is, whatever the level it is, I have to be a dog, basically.
Right. And just even I've really noticed that a lot of pros' perspectives on the differences between like European style of play or the US style of play. You have like one team in Europe might focus on the big man feeding the ball, or one team might be really half court savvy, defensive savvy, a lot of decoys, or another team might just want to push the ball up and down. As you've like played at the high level in so many different leagues, like what type of style of play have you noticed from each league that you've been in, would you say?
Yeah, so I started off in the BBL in England for 2 years, and it's a very athletic, very quick up and down league. Like even now, it's still one of the quickest leagues that I've played in. You get a lot of young, hungry Americans that probably didn't go to the best schools, but still have to have something to prove. So there's a lot of good talent there, and it's very athletic, very up and down in the BBL, as opposed to when I went to Germany, it was a bit slower. The bigs were really big,
Okay.
and when I got into the top league, anyway, this is the third league. It was a bit easy. I was better than that league when I got there, but I had to work my way up into the top league. So when I got to the top league, that's when I really seen a different level. That was when, like I said, the bigs were bigger. Like everything was a bit more efficient. Everyone's timing was a bit quicker and stuff like that. Yeah, so I learned a lot from that league, and then going to France. France, you can you it's for yourself. This I think it probably the most athletic league outside of the NBA.
Easily.
Yeah, I mean, like,
Easily.
you gotta be you gotta be an athlete to play there for sure.
Yeah.
The game changed a little bit during that time. Also, that was when the stretch four was becoming really prevalent, and even the stretch five also. Like in Germany, there weren't really many five men that were shooting that many threes. There was really big five men at the time, and they was really pounding the ball inside.
Right.
And that's when I kind of made the transition, because I initially played the three, and my by my by my last year in Germany, I was playing the four at stretch four position, because most of the four men weren't posting up anymore.
Right.
My size at the four wasn't a problem, so that's when it kind of was starting to change. And then when I went to France, no, there was no four men posting up. And tired, everyone was shooting. It was quick. It was up and down, and the bigs weren't traditional heavy bigs. They were more like JaVale McGee type pick and roll. You just throw it up, they're gonna go in and get it and dunk.
Got you.
They're mobile, but they're still like 7 foot. You know what I mean?
Wow, man.
Yeah. Most recently, Japan. Japan's more of an exhibition league for now, just because of the rules that they have over there with
Yeah.
imports and what type of imports they go for, and the style of play that they play as a nation. So it's a really good league. There's some really good players over there. They just lack the height from 1 through 5.
Right.
Like the 1 to 3 is usually pretty short over there. So they really get big, heavy bigs. Depends on what type of team they have, actually, to be honest. But
Right.
they got different rules, so it's a different game over there. Complete.
Okay. And just like even on that, Miles, like as great as being a pro is, and you kind of realizing, wow, you're telling me this round basketball has taken me to so many different continents, countries. I'm meeting people that are going to be lifelong friends. It's quite a skill in itself to adapt to the different leagues, the culture. So for yourself, like what are some of the biggest challenges you faced adjusting to new teams and environments, and how have you overcome them?
Um, Probably I'd say the biggest challenge is just learning new people and new cultures, because everywhere you go is a bit different. I mean, we're all human at the end of the day, so you
For
will
sure.
you will find like an underlying baseline of what
Yeah.
people are about, but there's so many different customs that other cultures are used to that you're probably not used to, and then just getting to know that type of stuff. It's not a hindrance though. It's something that I look forward to learning and going out and finding out about different type of people.
Right.
It's one of the it's one of the best things about being able to do this job in
Right.
different places, honestly.
Right. Right. And just kind of now taking us to where you're playing now in Lithuania, like what excites you the most about this chapter of your career and how does the Lithuanian league compare to the others that you've played in?
For me, I feel like I'm getting well I'm towards the tail end of my career, and I'm joining these teams. I was playing in Mexico and coming here now in the same season. Like I've joined two teams mid-season. It's kind of like it's not easy. It's not super difficult, but it's kind of like you're in the middle because they've already established a certain rapport with each other, and then you gotta come in and try and blend in without sticking out too much and stuff. Like I'm experienced enough to have I've been through it a few times before, so
Right.
I know how to maneuver. But yeah, it's just a good experience, um another part of the journey really.
Right.
Learning new people is it probably as far east in Europe that,
Yeah.
that I've been to
Wow.
for a long period of time, and just getting to know the people out here, and just yeah, it's a nice experience. It's cool.
How have you found? Because I think one thing you're starting to see now. I mean, I've been watching EuroLeague, just international basketball in general, since I started coaching, and you really see, you have the US supporters, which will be loud but still a bit contained. But then when you go to like the EuroLeague or any league in Europe, the crowd gets behind the fans. They're really invested in every call, every play. How has the environment been for you, like playing in that, would you say?
Yeah, it's been great. I mean,
Nice.
this is the first country I've been to where basketball is the main sport.
Okay.
You
Okay.
see it, you can tell like wherever you go, like on the billboards and the adverts and stuff, they've got their national team players, and then like there's just a real love for basketball in every city that you go to, and I'm looking forward to playing even more. I've only played a few games here so far. I haven't played Zagreus yet. I've heard sorry, I heard the home crowd in Zagreus is crazy, so
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, our home crowd is cool as well, man. It's a nice experience to play over here, man.
Right. Right. And kind of just speaking about the I would even say the emergence because through and through basketball has been around for some time now. And the fact that it's now a Olympic event, which for me, I was hyped on, is super huge. And, being that 3x3 gold medal, but also a hometown hero, like Miles, like, take us back. Cause you even had me hyped, like, leading up to this podcast, I watched the whole game, the highlights, chat to the teammates as well. Like, take us back, Miles, to 2022 Commonwealth Games, not anywhere. These Commonwealth Games could have been anywhere. It was in your hometown, Birmingham, like back and forth game, 3-on-3. So it's a different type of intensity, speed. What was going through your mind when you hit that gold winning shot in overtime?
Man, it's more than a dream come true. That was tough. You couldn't write a better script, honestly. Like
Facts. Yeah.
everything was just too perfect. Like everything, I didn't want it to go down to the wire though. Like I honestly didn't. Like I was stressed the whole tournament, and I just wanted to get. When we got to the final medal game, that was kind of the most calm I've been the whole time.
Wow.
Oh, we were actually secured like a gold or silver, but honestly, I don't want the silver. We've come too far to get that, but if worse comes to worse, I'll be all right. You know what I mean? So that was like probably the easiest night's sleep I had the whole time. But then, yeah, like the way it went, stress, bro.
I can imagine.
Stress, and it was just you feel every second ticking away. Like it was crazy. It wasn't like any game I've ever played before because every shot you felt every bucket, you felt every moment, every timeout, every foul, and then it got down to the final shot, the shot that they took. I promise you, whoever the guy that took it and me who closed out on it thought it was good.
Yeah,
I was standing there. That's why I didn't move. I didn't even move.
yeah, I saw you.
to go like for a rebound because my whole body was depleted. I'm like, oh God. He's looking at it. It goes in. I don't know who, the crowd, God, whatever, seen something blew the ball out, and OJ tipped it. I knew exactly where it was going at that point, so I ran to the corner. I'm like, it's a tooth again. Please, the wind had been being a big thing. A lot of people didn't notice, but the wind was crazy. So I literally just thought, that's why I took a second, because I knew that he wasn't putting back in the play. I
Okay, context. Okay.
took a second. I might make sure I'm behind the three for one. I'm not trying to be underlined. And two, please wind, don't bother this shot. And then I shot it. It's a corner shot. It's probably the easiest three in basketball that you can get. Yeah, it went in, and the relief that I felt, I've never felt that type of being in before or even again since. So yeah, we got over.
It doesn't get no bigger than that. I mean, even just like getting the content stuff, that's why when you kind of caught the ball, you kind of first made sure your feet was behind the line. And then it's like when you took that shot, Miles, it's like because your body was turning to left, and I was like, oh yeah, he knows that's money, that's cash. And just to do it in your oh man, like just to do it in your hometown as well, like that must have been. Did you guys get a moment to really soak that all in, or was so much going on at the time? It's only like after when it was like after the event when things started to quiet down, you was kind of in your room like, yo, I really did that.
Yeah, that night it was that night. So during after the shot, when I took the shot, it was all slow motion. Like it went in, like everyone erupted with passion. Like it was crazy. My body, like I wasn't really there, and yeah, it took a long while for us to get out of the arena and out of the stadium and back where we were staying. And then even then, like they had a little celebration and stuff. And then yeah, once everyone left and the door died down and we went back to our little dorm room, that's when we sat down and we just kind of realized that we've done it. Like well, it was like a 2-year process that got us all there in that room at that point, at that time. And you just sat down and it was just crazy.
That's crazy, man. I just gotta say, honorable shout out to Kane Henry, man, because like just seeing his growth for me, and like I had the privilege of working with him. This was under 15 regionals, and you just saw it from then, just the length, athleticism, and just to see what he's gone on to do now, like couldn't be more proud, man. And just even for yourself, Miles, like how did it feel to achieve such a historic moment in front of your home crowd? But what did that experience mean to you personally and professionally?
It's still hard to put into words because it's like you don't realize how much it. I didn't realize how much it meant to other people, not just me. You know what I'm saying? Like for me, like I think when you're doing stuff, you don't really take into account like what you're actually doing.
True.
You're playing games and you scored 30 or whatever, and it was okay, cool. You go to the next game. You just keep going. You play in these games. You go into these different teams. You're doing these different seasons and stuff. And it's not until you literally stop and slow down and be able to look back and then you can start to appreciate them kind of things. So it did really sink in for quite a while, and the kind of the impact that it had on myself and others and stuff like that. And then I think about it, like I'll never be able to replicate that.
Yeah.
There's just never going to be that moment. You know what I'm saying? So just to have that moment kind of etched in the history with my guys, like, yeah. Yeah.
That's just hats off to you, man, honestly. And it's even just like what you were saying, you kind of never know what something means or what you're doing or the impact of what you're doing has on just the people who are watching or like hear about it. Like, how has having a basketball court like named after you in Birmingham impacted your connection with your hometown and just the local basketball community?
I mean, I actually don't know.
That's real. I like that, yeah.
It's I mean, people usually have to die to get stuff like that. I don't. It's crazy. I can't really explain it. I can't really express it in words how much it means to me. Honestly, to I grew up playing there. You know what I'm saying? It was one of the places I played from when I was probably before I started playing basketball properly, because it's a nice park. So I used to go there and play football. Even when I used to play football, I used to play football on that same place. And then yeah, basketball, I used to play ball there. Now to have it renovated and with my name on it is a shit a bit, because I went there during the summer when they finished renovating it, and I seen so many kids just playing basketball. Like a few kids that I'd kind of started coaching and stuff was down there as well.
Nice.
And yeah, it's crazy how much of an impact it's made for the community already. And now going forward, I can't wait to start doing stuff there myself. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like little free camps or some, I don't know, just I have to do something there, you know?
Absolutely.
And yeah, hopefully it just continues to inspire people, you know?
Yeah,
We want to do.
absolutely, and just may it continue, man, and kinda just
Mm.
making a transition just with regards to the training and the development. Because I mean, some people will see you make that game-winning shot, or, they will look at all of your success, and because you make it look so easy, for those with the untrained eye, they might not realize the energy, the time, the attention, the endless reps, the film, the stretching, the rehab, recovery, things of that nature, that all those ingredients lead up to what it takes to become the type of pro athlete that you are. So when it just comes to the training and the development, what does your training routine look like, and how do you stay sharp both physically and mentally throughout the season?
Um, I'd say, you know what? I got injured early in my pro career. I got injured my first pro, like my first year pro, like in the first month of the, I broke my ankle. And I think it was a blessing for me, because it kind of just put everything into perspective of how quickly you could lose everything.
That's real. Yeah.
So from since then, I've never taken any day for granted. Basically, well, you do. Everyone always does. But as far as loving basketball and playing it for as long as I can with the passion I do, that's what kind of set me on that path. So when it comes to working out, I work out as often and as frequent as possible. So during the summer, it's basically every day I'll be in the gym. It's just a matter of being able to get the access, which is another whole different story. But part I'll be able to get to the gym most days. And yeah, it's a simple routine that I go through. It's just about staying sharp, working on the stuff that actually is effective for my game. How people don't understand what's actually effective for their game, and they'll work out doing stuff that they've seen on YouTube. That's
That's true.
Kyrie Irving, you know what I'm saying? And most of us aren't playing the NBA style game. So when it comes to my training, I can get my work done within 45 to an hour by myself usually as well. Because I used to try and work out with people, but everyone's on different schedules,
True.
and because I can never get a court at a specific time every day for the same time every day, so it just doesn't work. So for the past, for the most of my career, honestly, I've been working out by myself, here and there with friends. Friends used to come and go, and yeah, like just the same routines, man. Same simple stuff like working on my ball handling, shooting is the main thing, and then that's it. Honestly, just trying to stay in shape and just keep everything in motion.
See, and you just said something so key, like, and again, I love the fact that you can now look at your favorite player and be like, okay, like, how does Kyrie work on his ball handling? How does Steph work on his floaters? Trey, all these players. But again, if it doesn't apply to your game, then it's kind of useless. So for yourself, like, was it through you getting exposed to the GB brand of basketball where you started to train like a pro, or what contributing factor made you shift that thought process and just take your training to a whole nother level?
Honestly, it's just growing in the game and just learning outside of just the regular stuff. Because when I was developing my game when I was a 19, 18-year-old, I was a 3-man. So, and Steven Hansel, my coach Steve, he was a 2 combo guard. So we used to do a lot of pick and roll stuff, a lot of pick and roll actions, reading the game, and we do a lot of shooting, a lot of different things. And as I got older, I realized I'm not even in it for that time. It was great, but then when I got into the pro level, I'm playing the 3-4. I'm not doing pick and rolls. Or is there much point now in me working out in that? Not really. So I kind of crossed that off. I figured out what type my body type is and how I move isn't the same. So I could be the same height as Michael Jordan. I'm 6'6", but I don't move like him. Who do I move like? Okay, Charles Barkley-ish, Carmelo Anthony. So what did they do well? How did they move? And I kind of just figured it out what they do, and then just worked on that, and then just kept it really simple. And there's a lot of reps in the specific movements and the specific spots.
Right.
Doing everything because you're not going to be able to do everything.
True, true. And you even just mentioned something there, like body type, like as much as like I guess the surface level is okay. I like Kyrie Irving's my favorite player, so I'm gonna work on his handles and stuff. But if I'm not sure how tall Kyrie is, but if you're taller or smaller, if you look at how we move versus how you move, it's on two different spectrums. So you need to find a player, like you said, you kind of found the Charles Barkley's and the Melos. You move similar to them, so let me study their game so that I can actually apply what they're doing in real game situations. So that's I like that, man. I like that. And what would you say is like one underrated aspect of training or preparation that you think young athletes overlook?
Fundamentals is literally that's the basic and the base of everything, and it sounds basic, it sounds silly to say, but it really is key. Like if you can't, like my handles, I don't need to have breakdown handles, but I work on specific what I need my handles for, which I need a base level of. Yeah, I need to be able to dribble the ball to get to where I'm going and do all this type of stuff. And shooting, I start from close range and then I move out to my range and that's it. A lot of people now just start at the 3, just straight go into the gym, start taking threes. And then when it comes to them getting run off the 3-point line now, they've got no mid-range. They've got no floater because they don't understand that at a higher level, you're not going to be able to make layups because there's going to be 7-footers in there trying to.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's just about self-awareness and learning the fundamentals of your game. And even to say with that, like, okay, fundamentals means dribbling, shooting, passing, all that type of stuff. But then it does come down to self-awareness at the same time. I'm not going to waste time if I'm working out a big man with their handles. Man,
Well, yeah, sure.
there's certain things that you need to know that you don't need to, that a guard doesn't need to do. So, but it has to be specific and has to make sense.
Right, right. And it's like, even for yourself, having, not just played at the highest levels all around the world and representing Great Britain, like, how would you say the state of UK basketball is today, would you say?
In what sense, like the professional level or the actual level of like the kids coming up and stuff?
I would say like a bit of both, like just with regards to, for example, where you started and like how it's grown, leagues, the pros that we're seeing, such as yourself, that are going on to play pro overseas. We've got a lot of guys that are getting scholarships now. We're seeing that UK representation at D1 school. So just on that scale, how have you seen it grow, would you say?
It's growing immensely, man. I mean, when I think back to the amount of teams that were in Birmingham when I was there, probably count on one hand how many prospects there probably were, like guys that could actually hoop. Now it's endless. I don't know the amount of guys that can hoop in Birmingham. There's too many. There's a lot. Which is great for the sport, and it shows that we've got the kids there. We just need better coaching and better facilities, better infrastructure overall, just to be able to not lose that talent.
Yes.
Because a lot of guys, just if they don't see any reward after the age of 18, like they fall off into other different things, which is a shame, because you see the countries like France and Germany, just to name two that I've lived in and played in.
Yeah.
They're not better than us at basketball, as in like they don't have more talent when they're younger. They just know how to nurture it. There's a real, very straightforward pathway for all of their players. Like from an early age, if they're showing like prospect from when they're age 12 or whatever onwards, they're able to be with a professional team, practicing with professional players, and have an opportunity to play professionally when teenagers.
Yeah.
Like, we don't have that opportunity even now. Let's just say for Birmingham, for instance. It's better now. Obviously, the COB is probably the biggest organization in Birmingham. So they're D1. So now that gives a chance for a 14-year-old, a 15-year-old that's showing some prospect in under 16s or whatever level that they're playing, to be able to now play and practice with a D1 team, and it just elevates your level. It elevates the game way quicker than it does playing with guys your own age. That's happening all over France at a whole different level, because it's not just D1, it's actual professional. Guys are getting paid ex-NBA players, like borderline NBA, EuroLeague, and you being able to see that and being exposed to that from that age, it really means a lot.
Right. Right. And I mean, you just gave just great insight just with regards to what sets apart certain countries, and I mean, you've seen it firsthand why the Frances and the countries like Germany are so far ahead, because they have a very clear, concise pathway, and like you said, they know how to nurture that talent. So from your perspective, Miles, like what do you think needs to happen to grow the game and bring more opportunities for players in the UK?
Without getting too political, what I'd like to see is that type of France system where
Yeah.
every professional team has a younger, like say under 23s team, under 18s, under 16s, under 15s, so that there's a very clear pathway from an early age to a professional level in your own country, and it's giving them an opportunity now to be able to be exposed to high level basketball early on. That really I wasn't given that opportunity until I was 18 or 19. And I think if I met Steve when I was like 16, I would have been able to be at the level I was when I was 22, probably. I was talking about a whole different pathway now, because I'm 19, or I might go to college, I might get drafted, like stuff like that.
Yeah.
And he's at an earlier age, or makes a big difference. And I think that's just the way to go. If there's professional teams, it should start from the ground up.
Absolutely.
Shouldn't just be a random professional team in, say, I'm just gonna say Caledonia.
Yeah.
And there's no pathway for the under 20s or the under 18s or under 16s. There's no local guy that's on the end of the bench, or not even a local guy, but just a young, talented prospect that's just sitting on the bench waiting, and now they get an opportunity and play professional when they're 15, like they do in France.
Yeah. Yeah.
They show that they can hang at that level, and then now it's a case of, okay, cool, you get to play. Just then now you actually get to play. It just takes the whole national team to a different level.
Right. Right. I mean, honestly, I'm pretty optimistic because I've just seen the growth, and I know we have a lot of steps to go, but I'm seeing changes that is definitely pushing the game forward, which I absolutely love to see. And again, just the one thing that I love about basketball is, me as a coach, just even as a student of the game, I apply what I learn through basketball into my life, just with regards to like certain life lessons that I've learned. So for yourself, Miles, like what life lessons has basketball taught you that you extend beyond the court?
Just the discipline of you might not always be going through good times or bad times, and regardless of what it is, you still gotta wake up in the morning and get to it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like even if I'm injured, I still gotta wake up and do rehab. Or still this, there's always something that you can do to better yourself, regardless of what's going on. And I think that's probably the biggest thing is just discipline. And yeah, that's the main thing that I can take from basketball into other aspects of life.
Hmm. Absolutely. Absolutely. And kind of just looking back just at your legacy and ref- reflecting on it, like looking back at your career so far, what are you most proud of and what do you hope your legacy will be in basketball?
Um, I kind of I did it my own way. I wasn't able to go to college. I didn't go to a European um what do you call it, like an academy or anything
Yeah.
like from an early age
Right.
or pretty late on in life, and I was able to still go out there and grind through different levels to where I am today. So I feel as though I'm probably most proud of that because I didn't see anyone else do it before me. I didn't have anyone else to be like, okay, cool, I'm just gonna follow that path. I'm gonna go to this school or I'm gonna go to that academy and it will take me there. I've kind of just been doing it myself and I've shown that anyone can do it.
Right.
It might sound simple or whatever, me saying anyone can do it, but literally I'm not I'm not special, you know what I'm saying?
Mm.
I worked hard, I understood what I needed to do and then kind of just got it done, you know.
Right.
But hopefully it can inspire other people to do the same.
Absolutely. And just even on that, like how do you balance, like just before we wrap up with the fourth quarter, which I like to call the quick hitter segment, like well, it's a two-part question now. Like, what is because a lot of people don't realize, as much as you love the sport, it's a sacrifice, especially when you're playing overseas. You're missing, friends, families, birthdays, key events, things of that nature. Like, what would you say, Miles, is the unseen grind of Miles, would you say?
Unseen grind is the fact, like you said, you miss a lot of family events. I mean, you miss a lot of family, you miss a lot of just wanting to do certain things
Of course.
on
Yeah.
bases, and you just gotta stay disciplined. Like I said, as long as I know what type of work I need to put in to get to where I need to go. So that's always been the main goal. And yeah, just been living that for the past 15 years now,
Right.
or 15 seasons. So that's it. It's nothing. It's not a secret. It's nothing special. Putting in work.
Right. Right. And just a final one, like, how do you balance the demands of being a professional athlete whilst, giving back to the community and inspiring the next generation of roofers?
I mean, I wish I could do more, man. There's so many things that I've had in my mind that I want to do,
Dope.
and say with my schedule, it's not always easy to try
Yeah.
far ahead because sometimes I just don't know if I'm going to be in the country or not to be able to put certain things on
Right.
and things. But I mean, there's no real rush on it. I'm trying to do what I can at the moment, and then obviously, but when I retire, I'll have way more time, more than likely to be able to do more, which I'm looking forward to. And
Right.
really want to help. I really want to see more people from where I'm from be able to do what I've been able to do.
Right. And just making that transition now into the fourth course, to this first one, I'm super intrigued to get your mind on, Miles. Like, and with this answer, you could go the basketball route or the life route. But for yourself, Miles, like in your opinion, and just through your experience as well, like what would you say is a skill that is taught by many, but only mastered by a few?
A skill that's taught by many and mastered by a few. I don't understand, honestly, the question, but I will give a perspective. My perspective is self-awareness.
Okay,
Self-awareness
okay.
is key to most things that you probably want to realize until you actually deep what self-awareness actually means.
Why do you mean that? Because I'm curious now. I like that one.
Self-awareness is just knowing yourself, knowing who you are, what you're capable of, what you're not capable of, where you think you're gonna go and where you can actually go. And it's it's more than just thinking that you know yourself. You don't really know yourself until you dig deep and look deep inside yourself. And I mean, being alone and being able to travel and do certain things,
Yeah.
you'll understand who you are. And the sooner the better.
Right. Right. I like that one, man. That one there kind of got me thinking now. I like it. I like it. Next one, the best piece of advice you ever received.
Um, I'm not good at these questions, fire answers. The best piece of advice. I don't know whether it's advice or not. It's just like just working with my dad at an early age. Just seems just like the way that he worked and his work ethic, and the same my mom, their work ethic. I don't know if they gave me one specific piece of advice, but just growing up with them my whole life and seeing how they lived is probably bigger than one word or anything that they.
Okay. Okay. And next one, this is like you've got filling the gap. So the sentence is, if it wasn't for basketball, I wouldn't have learned filling the gap about yourself.
Everything about me from the age of 14 till now,
Yeah.
or pu- adolescent and adult life, is everything is revolved around basketball since like meeting friends, meeting um, teammates,
Yeah.
and all of that type of stuff. I mean, basketball has shaped it all.
Right. And just the final one, I'm gonna set the scene. There's a kid in Birmingham, Miles, and he's on his way. He's about to go to practice, but he's gonna stop at his local bookstore, and he's saying, "Yeah." Scooter said, "You know where I can find the book by Myles Hesson? Yeah, if you just go up the stairs, if you find a sports section, basketball, you can't miss it." So he's going up the stairs, Miles. He's a geek. He's ready. He goes to the top shelf, brings the book down, and he sees your book, Miles. And the question that I want to ask you is, what would the title of your autobiography be?
Mm, the journey of 1,000 miles.
Hey, okay. Why do you mean that? Because I'm intrigued by that title now.
I mean, obviously, my name's Miles, and
Yeah.
I've been on a long journey. It's a saying that people have said before, and I feel as though I've been through a lot. I actually should write a book, to be honest.
Absolutely.
And yeah, that'd probably be the most fitting name.
That's what's up, man. Honestly, like Miles, again, thank you so much, honestly, for being on the podcast. I mean, I know for listeners, coaches, players, just the next generation, a lot of tips to gain from this. Like, and for those who just want to follow your journey, kind of even model their game after you, or just even learn more from you along your journey when it comes to the socials, where can they find you?
Just type my name in, Myles Hesson, on any socials, and don't be afraid to ask me anything. I respond to most DMs if it was on as in like stupidity.
Of course.
Easy to reach out to, and yeah, I've got time for anybody that wants to talk.
Absolutely, man. Listeners, honestly, we appreciate your time, Miles. Thank you so much, honestly, man, for being on the podcast and just sharing your journey, sharing what it takes to get to the next level as well, but also just giving us a peek into what it's like being a pro, and again, just how much, you know, Birmingham must be super proud of you. But again, just having that hometown support is so huge, man. And just meeting certain people along the way that give you that helping hand as well, man. So honestly, Miles, appreciate your time, man. For real. This is myself, Coach D, and the man that is Myles Hesson signing out.